Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick, and I guess it's Groundhog Day this morning. I don't really know. I thought we did this yesterday, but I guess we're going to get another overnight headline about the trade war and how that's never ending, and that's why we're down, and we're going to, talk about that, I guess. So overnight reaction to this headline. We have some earnings as well. We're going to talk about the picks from the Stone Conference yesterday, just general reaction yesterday to buy the dip mentality we saw. We'll kind of walk through that, whether that will repeat itself again today. Our guest, Nick Chahine, joins us every other Tuesday. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. He will join us at 8:35. Joel, what's happening here overnight?
We got some major, no mutage here. Major red on the screen here. SPOO's down 23.75, continuing to make new lows on the session. The news after the close, SPOO's open lower, 29.30.50 pre-market high. We're not going to see that today, folks. We're not going to rally back to unchanged, in my opinion. Pre-market low, 08.25. I have one target on the downside. Let's make it two targets. Yesterday's intraday low at 28.94, and then the low that was made Sunday night at 29.83.50. See if bulls can step up ahead of those levels and defend 2,900. Crude in the red by 67 cents here at 61.58. Gold in the red too by 280 at 12.81 even. Silver in the red too by a dime and a little bit more than that, 1482.5. And just because Bitcoin was knocking on the door of 6,000, let me check out the Bitcoin futures, and up $160 at 59.05 here. So let's bring in Triple D. Unless Triple D is banging
Maybe
out
for
on
a minute. It's fast, man.
Go.
I got 70. No, it's okay. I'll just give you a quick rundown. I got 70 overnight positions here, so working them. And I was stable, but now obviously we just fell 7 handles in the last 7 minutes here. So we're trying to just get our head on it. We got our head on a swivel here trying to work our own positions. So we try to do the radio show when we can, but trading always takes precedence. So that's my update. I will come back at you guys once I get stabilized here on my own P&L.
Okay, let's get it green here. All right, Spencer. So you and I running the show here today. We got a lot to cover. Where would you like to start?
Well, I mean, this overnight, I kind of woke up and I got to the office and I didn't know why we were down. And Joel, you told me that Robert Lighthizer already made some comments about China reneging on their trade agreements, and I guess I thought, okay, I guess that makes some sense. But this is the same thing we saw yesterday. So tell me why today is different.
I don't know. I mean, as far as just a replay of the come in and the buy the dippers, come in and save the market.
This overnight news. We wake up and we're down, and we just buy that dip. Why wouldn't we just do the same thing today? This seems stupid to me.
Well, the market's not supposed to make sense to people, but my theory is that you had a lot of buy the dippers yesterday. Like, okay, it's the art of the deal. We're going to get some good news. I'm just going to keep buying the dip, which worked very well yesterday, right? But if you didn't sell the rip, then you're almost back to scratch on some of those positions. So I just think that, uneasiness over the trade talks, and you mentioned that other thing. I don't know how much of a factor that is with Pompeo not going to Germany. But, here a lot of people are caught from yesterday. It had closed near the highs of the session. And so now people are going to be a little bit more hesitant. I just don't see us going back to unchanged today. That's just my opinion. Nor do I think we're going down to yesterday's Globex low at 29.83.50. I think it's going to be a little bit of a battleground here. But it's the news, and it's overnight news. The SPOOs were closed. They opened lower, and that's what you have. Now, Dennis, when he comes back on, he could talk about it. At the time when we started the pre-market show, the SPOOs were down and the spider were down more than the stocks were, right? So he was kind of looking for a little bounce. But now I'm looking at it, and Microsoft is down 0.92% versus the spider, which is in the S&P, which is down 0.76%. Apple's down almost 1%. So that's when he's talking about that. He is just looking at the percentages of the S&P and the spider, where they're at and how are stocks trading relative to it. So right now, some of the stocks are playing catch up here, but man, it doesn't feel like a limit down or 500-600 point down day. But man, this is tough for all the people that got stuck yesterday.
Well, we just lost half a point in the SPY, but going back to yesterday here, I'll give you guys both credit because you were both right. I think you both agree that tomorrow could be, or yesterday could be a good day. We might not go green, but they'd buy the dip, and you guys were right. We didn't go green, but we came damn well close.
It was a lot, I mean, if you take an account, yesterday it was like 46, 47 handles. And if anything, on those kind of quick declines from a Friday to a Sunday, you close right at all-time high and you're short and you're like, man, just I'll hold it over the weekend. Maybe there'll be some bad news over the weekend. And then boom, you wake up and it was there. So it was a gift. It was a gift for a lot of shorts. And then we also talk about a lot of money on the sidelines. Hey, here's an opportunity, a reset from last week's low at 29.01. Now today, little different scenario because you have all those people that did buy the dip yesterday that are thinking, who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, sure, we could rally back. There could be a Trump tweet that, hey, all of a sudden we made great progress. We got a deal and it's off to the races here. But I can understand, you're, questioning the market here because did all these stocks change in value 0.7% overnight? I don't think so.
All right, yeah. So apparently now, this trade war is going to get drawn out even further, is what people are saying. I really miss last week when when we didn't have to talk about this for a while. I missed when the trade war wasn't a thing for a couple months because trying to make sense of it and the market's reactions is just too much for me. And
my big question is this going to get straightened out before the November 2020 election? I mean. Is it going to drag out that long?
I can't take it, so I certainly hope not. But let's move on here to a couple. Let's see. Well, there were some earnings, not a lot of big ones, but a lot of mid caps. A couple that were on our list here. Let's talk about Hertz. Let's start there. I guess that's like the most notable name from yesterday. HTZ.
Sure.
Reporting yesterday after the close, a Q1 adjusted EPS of a 99-cent loss versus a $1.32 loss estimate. So they beat the estimate there by about 33 cents. Sales 2.1 versus $2.13 billion, a slight sales miss, and the EPS beat for Hertz in the first quarter.
Well, they got a little pop, but it's fading here. The after hours pop, where'd that take you to? That took you to 2090 and 21. I think was a resistance area. Let me see what the high of that pop was. Nope, that was 2095. So stopped just short of the whole number. Now just hanging out. We're green. We're holding the close. That's good news. So first I'd look for us to hold we're trading in the green a little bit. We're trading up 28 cents. So I keep an eye on the close at 1972. That was right near the highs of the session. You hold that, maybe go back up and test the pre-market high. On the downside though, I like the support a lot better than I do the resistance. Your support, two lows, 19 even, 1909. So if you do go to decline, let's see what happens at $19.
What about GW Pharma this morning? Breaking out here, EPS yesterday, 14-cent loss, up from a 20-cent loss a year ago. Sales of 39.25 versus $17 million estimate. So a sales beat. I don't know if they had an EPS estimate there, but it's breaking out here.
Breaking out on earnings, as we talked before, stocks, these kind of stocks, you usually move more on good drug news, but you do have the earnings for the driver today, knocking on the door of $200. Your pre-market high, 197. Currently trading at 195.5. Look for, if you're looking for follow through, through the pre-market high. That's 197 even. And then we'll see if you can make a shot at 200. I do remember this thing being really wild off earnings and the potential to give it back. So if you're playing this long off the hop, being a brave soul here, just make sure you go through 197 and then see what maybe happens at 200.
And then I guess we'll do AIG as well. The EPS there was $1.58 versus $1.06 estimate. Sales of 12.45 versus 12.28 billion dollars. So they beat on both, and they're breaking out, but leaking here.
Yeah, the good news is it's still trading up at 269. The bad news is you hit 50.68 in pre-market trading. You've backed off this level. Huge move for AIG. It's a little bit of a thinner stock. I see it. We're trading up quite a bit. Let me check the volume on this one to see if we got enough volume to support this move. Only 65,000 have traded, and this released last night, right? So I don't know how much volume traded. I don't know how much stock is in the book. You just got to think about $50. You haven't been over $50 since, oh boy, you got to go back until the middle of last year. September last year when you had a 54.44 high. But I use 50 as psychological, a number could be some size there. I think we're going to have a hard time opening over 50, and 50.68 is your pre-market high. We're trading since we made that high, we're trading at our lowest level, that lowest level of 49.25, a little bounce here. So I don't know where to give you support. If we break through 49.25, yesterday's range, 47.11 marked the high.
Let's do a couple more. Let's do Rent-A-Center, RCII, and GLUU Mobile. So Rent-A-Center reported yesterday Q1 adjusted EPS 59 cents versus a 32-cent estimate as I pull up the chart. Sales of $696 versus $680 million. So they beat on both their numbers in the first quarter. They also raised their fiscal year EPS guidance from $1.75 to $1.85 on the low end of the range, and they reaffirmed their sales guidance at a little over $2.5 billion for the fiscal year.
Man, this thing has been on a roll really since 2018. I see maybe a couple down months. On the headline number, they took it up. They took it up to 26.05, and now we've started to leak. We're in the red here. We're in the red by a little over $1. Looking at yesterday's range, 24.27 was the low. So if you're looking for a quick recovery, got to get above 24.27. You got me, Spencer?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, 24.27 is the gap fill there, so we'll keep an eye on that to get above yesterday's low. And then on the downside, really, this thing could go absolutely anywhere. Started the year under $15. On the daily charts, really had been holding 24. I just don't like this thing going through 24. Losing the support at 24. I'm looking for 23.33, then perhaps 22.52.
And then one more, I wanted to do GLUU Mobile also because the video game stocks could be volatile today. But GLUU Mobile, GLUU, reported yesterday after the close Q1 EPS 0 cents versus a 5-cent estimate, and sales 95.8 versus $89.1 million. So they beat that number. They also raised their guidance for the fiscal year from $445 million to $482, or they raised it to a range of $445 to $455 million, which is still a little bit light, however. So I want to give you those numbers, and also note that the Google I/O Developers Conference is today, and Google executives are expected to discuss video gaming, and we'll see if they announce anything that could impact the sector.
I did not get an invitation to that.
It got lost in your It got lost in your Gmail. That's why you need to use.
I hate Gmail.
You need to use your Gmail more. They know you don't use it, which is why they didn't send you an invitation.
I'm gonna need some help with my Gmail today. I'm getting too much mail, Spencer. Can you help me out with that a little bit later on?
Sure.
If you did sell this thing when you're going up, you're going to sell into a declining market. But if you wish you would have bought this thing yesterday at 10.31, that low right off the open, That's where you're going to see today. So you hold 1031. The stock has been in an uptrend. So theoretically, a strong stock, you're supposed to buy the dip here. I'd be okay buying the dip if it holds. I mean, I even got to give it a little room under 1031 because I see a pair of lows at 1026 and 1028. So big level to hold, and I think perhaps you can rebound and to go unchanged on the session. You got a ways to go. 1122 with the high right there at 1128. So pretty good support there at 1030. We'll see if we can hold it off the hop.
What about the fact that Anadarko has apparently accepted Occidental's bid for them?
I think what my latest rumor, and you guys, I'm just joking here, is that Oxy's just going to up it again for the hell of it. They're going to outbid themselves. But here's a scenario where you had the news on it, it gapped up. Dennis talked about not much, premium in the deal. Someone came in here. Chevron's been rallying off this. I don't think Chevron's going to want to pay up this much. That's still trading a little bit of red, but anyone that that held on after the initial news and looked for a little more on it, it's being rewarded. Oxy, it's got Carl in there. It has Warren in there. So if you want to play with the big boys here, you get a chance under $60 here in Oxy, OXY.
And just look at Chevron here.
Chevron, I mean, I thought it would be popping a little bit more. It did get the pop. It's still kind of hanging out down there. I think it's just because of a down market. They were punished for the takeover and really have not been able to rebound. We're at an important live. Oil's also lost $3 or $4 in the interim. But you're low since they talked about that 115.65. You are trading above that at 118.40, but one would think, all things being equal, that if they're not doing the deal, that this stock would be getting a little bit more love. 124.75 fills the gap on the upside, but shorts are probably not going to be worrying about doing any covering until it takes out 122.54. That's been the high since they talked about it. Maybe they'll go after someone else, but you think it would be rebounding just a tad more if they're out of the deal.
All right, let's real quickly recap what was discussed yesterday at the Irisone conference. We know that the biggest hedge fund, some of the biggest hedge fund names in the world will go there and talk about their longs and their shorts. On a day like yesterday, probably not as much movement as what we would have had in years past thanks to the trade headlines, but they can still cause some volatility. It's still interesting to hear who some of these guys are buying and who they're selling. So David Einhorn, who we know has underperformed here the past couple of years, he's had a rough go of it. He is long AER, AeroCap. They're an airline leasing company.
Okay, it's getting a boost up 55 cents here. I've never heard of this company. This is probably trades a little over $1 million a day. I'm just keeping an eye on 52.68. That was the high from last week, and we've backed off that level. We're trading up here 55 cents. So I'd keep an eye on that 52.68. Above that, 54.18 is your December low. Coming back on the downside here, used unchanged as support. Yesterday's low right there at 50.65. So let me see. It's boy, I don't think I've ever seen this stock before. I just want to see what the volume is on this one, and no volume this morning. So be careful on this one. 52.68. I like that as a resistance point.
And Einhorn is short a rail car leasing company, GATX, GATX.
Jeez, GATX. No, I just did. Trading down 37 cents. You said Einhorn on this one?
Mm-hmm.
Sleepy chart. What I'd be looking for on this one is a breach of 75.05. Lows from a couple days back, 75.23 and 75.05. I mean, I do see another low in the 75 handle, but this thing just looks sleepy. On the upside, you had sellers just under 79 in the last two sessions. So I'll look at that as resistance. And theoretically, it's not going to rally because of an Einhorn short here. But really, consolidation station here, really going back to April, blip up to 82. But that 75 to me looks like pretty good support.
Other big presentation was from Larry Robbins yesterday, and he is short 3M. And I hope for his sake he got in before the earnings report.
Well, they didn't disclose that, but that stock, you had the gap and go down after earnings, and they are just leaning on this thing hard. Yesterday's low, 180.13. Now there is a psychological level at 180, trading in the red. You got your high and your close right there together, 183.04 and 83.11. So that's your resistance point. And then Spencer, pull the monthly up here on this one because this is getting into some danger area here. One at 76.87 was your low in December, and you knocked on that level a couple times. So boom, you take out that 180. Let's see what happens at 177. But if you do breach 177 intraday or on a closing basis, then everyone that's been in this stock since March of 2017 is now underwater. So monthly chart not looking good. And then who was on last week that thought there was a lot of problems with 3M, potential problems, litigation problems? Help me out, Spencer.
Well, those are the same things that Larry Robbins discussed yesterday. You're talking about on our show?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I've got that goldfish memory like Dennis. Let's see. Was it Mark Chaikin? Was it Hillary Kramer? Was it? I think one of those two.
Yeah. Was it? It might have been Hillary Kramer. I can't remember, but. Well, anyways, you got the news a week ahead if you're listening to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep Show.
Larry Robbins also short Chemours, CC.
I'm hiding in the background here. I've come back.
Oh, Dennis.
Market stabilized. we're good pre-market show. We're talking. The market just kind of hanging out. It all looks okay, and then we boom, whoosh. We just fell like 9 handles there, and we've come back. It's such a weird day. Like, that's just what I'm going to say. And you were kind of, I was listening to you guys as you were talking, and, Spencer's, kind of, implying it's kind of the same thing as yesterday. We get the sell off, we buy the dip, we come back, and then they reiterate that the tariffs are coming in last night, and then we sell off another 20 handles. I mean, maybe the market wanted them to call the bluff soon or somebody, and it doesn't sound like they're bluffing when they reiterate it. But, here we are, and we're down, 20 handles again. But you look here, and I don't see like panic selling, and we didn't see that yesterday either. And that was really what the tip-off was, that we were buying the dip yesterday. And I mean, the dip buy yesterday was really good. If you were buying and listening to our guests from yesterday, CRM opened right at the lows. I actually bought the CRM open yesterday, and I was up 2 points in less than 2 minutes. So, but there was a ton of stocks. It was the tech stocks that really, some of the higher beta names even were lifting. I know Square went positive about 20 minutes after the open, and obviously closed positive too. So you think here, is this going to be a replay today? I don't know. It's hard to say, but what I'm seeing in the pre-market is a replay, because I'm not seeing the stocks that weak. So yes, we're down 20 handles here, but when you do look under the hood, which we like to do that segment, you look at the SPY, and it's down 0.68%. Then you look at like Amazon, down 0.52. You look at Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft's there, 0.78. It's come down a little bit from where it was. Apple's kind of hanging out right there. But really, when you break it down, most stocks are not quite down that much. Now, they played catch up, and the pre-market was a lot more apparent when we were talking at 7:45, where you had a lot of stocks that really needed to play catch up. Then we had that whoosh, and a lot of stocks did play catch up. But I mean, there's a lot of stocks holding on here still. So you haven't shaken the buy the dip mentality yet. The question is, if you do this enough, do you shake those guys out, and do we eventually start to break down or not? I don't know. I think yesterday's high becomes a major resistance point here now, if you're ever to get up to the 293, if the buy the dippers do come in. But it's headline driven. It's tough to trade things technically when you don't know what the next headline's going to be. Like, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, there's going to be a lot more headlines coming. Is China, like, think about the potential headlines here. So we've, announced that we're going to put a bunch of tariffs on Monday. We haven't heard anything really from China yet, really, have we, Spencer? Like,
No.
are they going to come and they're going to say, okay, well, we're going to put tariffs on you back?
No.
I mean, that's what happened last time. If you think like to a year ago, are they going to come back and, and try to hit us back, and play hardball too? Or is there going to be, some, soft approach where, oh, we're still talking? I mean, we don't know what that next headline is. If that next headline is China playing hardball too, the market could really get whacked. Or if the next headline, like Joel was saying, is, okay, well, we see, some progress happening here and it comes from us, I mean, that's going to rally it. So it's so hard to take a position here when you don't know this next headline, and it's coming. There's going to be another headline probably even today, probably tomorrow. There's headlines coming. And so that's why you have major headline risk in this market right now. And that's why you got to be very cautious if you're trading things just technically.
Yeah, technically, yeah, the news is going to move it. I mean, I just see this as like I don't see us like cranking down to yesterday's low, and I don't see us, just going
unless it's a bad
back.
Headline comes.
Right, unless it's a bad headline, and I just don't see. I just think it's going to be just like a grinder. I think there's going to be a lot of like 5, 6, 7, 8 point moves in the S&Ps because there's just nothing in here. We gapped down through it yesterday, and then we came back up through it like water too. So there's no good technical levels to lean on. From the S&Ps, really the only thing I would say, to me, things get interesting up at 2920. That's unchanged on the session. So if the bulls want to make a statement here, they're going to take it over 2920. They're going to hold that through the first 15 minutes, a half hour, and then they're going to make a run at the pre-market high at 29.30.50, which is just under the close. On the other hand, if the Bears want to step things up, they're going to take things through 29.08 They're going to breach 2900. First target would be the intraday low, but I just see short stuck from yesterday that didn't cover, and oh wow, now I'm getting a little replay, and then I see some midterm longs kind of stuck too on the upside. So I just think we're going to grind.
It's going to grind till the next headline.
True.
I mean, that's what it is right now it's a coin flip. You're in a coin flip market here because we don't know what the next headline is going to be. I mean, Spencer's comparing it to Tesla. I mean, it's true. Tesla is such a hard stock to trade technically because it's a headline every other day and a major headline every other day. So if you come in here and trading this market and saying, oh, this is a nice setup, I like this technical setup, and all of a sudden this trade war escalates, well, the S&P is going to be down 40 handles in your face. Or if the trade war gets settled, it's going to be up 50 handles in your face. You don't know what the next headline is going to be. So that's why it's almost like, from a swing trading perspective, I mean, day trading scalpers, you're always going to trade the moves. But from a swing trading perspective, it's really hard to come in here and position yourself saying, I like this setup. Technicals work really well in the absence of news. This market is not the absence of news right now. This market is the exact opposite. It's a headline-driven market. And, people will say, oh, I just look at the charts. Well, I don't care what the chart looks like. If they come out with a headline that, this trade war is escalated and, now China's going to fight back on this, we're down 50 handles. It don't matter what the chart looks like. It didn't matter what the chart looked like over the weekend. We made new all-time highs. The charts look pretty good. It didn't matter when that headline comes out. The trade war is maybe coming back on. So headline-driven markets are tough to trade technically, and that's why I think you just sit back, wait till the dust settles, get the next headline, and then maybe go with the flow. But right now, the market's just chopping around because it doesn't know what the next headline is going to be.
And I think also, you're very good at it. You've been doing a long time, initiating, positions off the news. But I think if you're newer in the market or less experienced, I'd maybe using the news more to take off a winning position,
Sure.
If you have one, because you're going to get these accelerated moves. I mean, if you were short yesterday, all right, you had a good opportunity, a long opportunity to do it. Also in the pre-market trade, we never saw the pre-market levels. But, man, if you're trying to pull the trigger and hit bids and lift offers off these headlines, I mean, just be careful because you don't know what the next one's going to be. You don't know what the follow-through is going to be. But right now, the market is spooked, Dennis. You have to admit, to have that down open again yesterday and then the market come back today, it's spooked. And we'll see if Washington can work its way out of this. And one headline. Oh, China's coming. We got a deal. They're not reneging.
Oh, I mean, we're at all-time highs, just like that. So those headlines do matter. And this is a good example of, we always talk, what's the institutions doing? What are they saying? So at 8:30, a lot of times you'll see institutions show their hands. These are some of the smallest imbalances I've ever seen. You know why they're so small? Because the institutions don't know what to do right now. Okay, what's the next headline? They're all sitting waiting on the trigger. What's the next headline going to be? So nobody's throwing out huge orders and saying, I'm convicted that this is the top and I'm going to sell. Because if you got that conviction and you come in and all of a sudden, there's there's a headline that we got a trade deal, you're wrong. So I think I think it gets less liquid, the market, for sure. When you have volatility, you have headline risk, you're going to see the VIX go up. You're going to see liquidity providers back off to a certain extent. So, those swings are more wild, which is what you're going to see. So you are going to see more wild swings as we wait for that next headline. And even the imbalances that I'm seeing here in the morning, I don't see anything. Like usually you'd think a day like this, I'm going to see some significant imbalances. I don't even see anything worth talking about. Alibaba, 34,000.
Not one?
Sell. There's like 20,000, 10,000 of this.
Really?
I don't see any hundreds. Like nobody's showing their hand saying, I want to buy this stock or I want to sell this stock. Nobody knows what to do. We're waiting for the next headline. I don't know what to do. I mean, I sit here as a trader, and that headline last night that comes out at 5 o'clock comes out of the blue, and boom, we fall 20 handles in 20 seconds. So you're trading, and you're looking at a setup, even in after hours, maybe you're looking at something, and boom, you fall 20 handles. I mean, everything just changed again. So it's headline risk-driven market here right now. I would just say caution to the newer traders, caution to all traders right now, especially if you're just trading just off the technicals. I always say use the technicals. Yes, they can be of use. I do like charts, but you got to be aware of the fundamentals. You got to be aware of the macro picture. You got to be aware of the headlines as well, because headlines will trump technicals every single time.
William Lay comments, sounds like a good day to count yesterday's winnings and wait.
Well, you know what? And there's a good point you were making, Joel. Take off a winning trade. This is the kind of chop where, you get a trade on, book the profits, because you don't know what the next trade's going to be. I'm not saying lighten up your investment portfolio. I'm not talking anything to do with investing here right now. I haven't even touched my investing portfolio besides buying some Disney yesterday, which I said I was going to do. But, when you think about this market... What's that?
Me too,
Spencer?
Dennis. Me too, Dennis.
Did you buy Disney?
You sure did.
Nice, Spencer Israel.
Did you guys report that?
We're over 10%. I don't think we're quite there. We're not at quite at the 10% threshold. Maybe one day.
I'll file my 13F next week.
Yeah, we'll file. Me and Spencer will
All right,
file.
anyway, sorry to distract. Back to the thing.
But anyways, if you've got something that you want to throw in your long-term investment portfolio, sometimes this whipsaw chop action gives you a good opportunity. But all I'm saying for the traders, the guys that are in there day to day, the guys that are doing swing trades right now, I would say if you got the profits, book the profits quickly, because you don't know what the next headline is going to be, and those profits can be gone in a matter of seconds if the headline moves against you. I mean, if you think you know what the next headline is going to be and you think a deal is coming, then that's one thing. But I don't think anybody knows what the next headline is going to be.
And someone in the chat, and we could talk about this with Nick Chahine, who's coming on in a few minutes. So just buy a SPY straddle for 30 days and exit. Well,
but
right now,
are getting jacked a little bit because of yesterday. There's now free lunch out there. VIX up 8. One thing, and the play I always play is Virtue Financial. When the volatility goes
Great
up.
Call yesterday. Call the day.
I bought that at the open yesterday, and that thing was straight up a buck in. Well, look at the chart. It opened at 23. It opened flat yesterday. It was a gift. The thing was up $1.50 or $1.30. So you're talking about a 6% move in the first 30 minutes, 25 minutes. So these are little plays. Those are little inefficiencies. People aren't thinking quick enough. So I think we mentioned it on the show, and I was just looking, I was like, okay, well, volatility is going to be up and VIRT is going to open flat. I'll take that chance. VIRT opened flat and boom, immediately corrects itself, and then people start buying it. So these are the little inefficiencies that I talk about, stuff like that. That's my volatility play. VIX all of a sudden spikes. Well, Virtue hasn't priced for that. Off the open, it didn't price for that because it opened flat. And it gives you a good opportunity. So there's always little opportunities there of inefficiencies. And this is a type of market where, inefficiency traders do better. This is a type of market where Virtue Financial, which is going to be one of your biggest inefficiency traders, is going to do better. So those are the stocks that are going to temporarily be catching a bid. So we know when volatility starts to come back down, Virtue starts to come back down too. But, people always want to play TVIX and play everything else. I always think the one forgotten child is VIRT, which is a great VIX play.
And Christian Fromhertz made some pretty good calls yesterday. You mentioned the CRM. You mentioned Texas Linda said the guest gave me Veev yesterday, VEEV. So is that Nick? Is that Nick?
Oh, Nick, do we have you? Looks like we lost Nick. We'll be right back, and I will grab Nick Chahine from Create Income with Option Spreads. All right, as promised, we're live with Nick Chahine, Create Income with Option Spreads. Nick, how's it going this morning?
Going well. Trying to pick some winners among the wreckage, the so-called wreckage yesterday that lasted about 2 hours maybe.
Yeah.
So we are binary. We are in headline trading again, and meanwhile you can try to pick some winners. And overnight, we saw some good action from GW Pharma. Got lucky. Saw something there, it had hit my target, and then it looked like it could break out to new highs and maybe target a $230 area. So went long that, and it looks like it's going to pay this morning. Specifically, there was the June contract that stopped at 200. I don't like it when that happens, so I target it. So people who sell that last call will probably have their backs against the wall. So they're going to be under fire today. So things like this, try to avoid the headlines, but you can't completely. You have to protect your portfolio. So if you need protection, buy it. If on Sunday night you said, gosh darn it, I wish I had puts, then Monday after the bounce, you should have bought some puts.
That's a great way.
Drop again?
Spencer's on mute.
No, we're good. I'm here.
Spencer's on mute.
I'm here. I'm here. I just wasn't sure who was going to talk. All right. So, Nick, that being said, I was thinking that today would just be a deja vu type of day. Joel disagreed with me a little bit on that sentiment. So how are you attacking today?
I'm cautiously optimistic, as they say. I expected yesterday to be a lot better. Sunday night, I was playing cards with family, and I looked at the 60-point drop, whatever it was, and then by the day's end, we were almost flat. We were green on the small caps and a few other stocks. So the headline was bad, but we've been in this for a long time. And we've been expecting the extra tariffs to hit for a long time. The headline has been here before. If they do hit the extra tariffs in their worst form, it will impact the PNLs, and there might be some lingering effects. But I don't think it will kill the whole rally. It will cause reasons to retest the necklines from which we broke out. How about that?
All right, let's go drill down here into some individual issues here. Dennis and Spencer dipped their toe into the House of Mouse yesterday. Disney getting a pop off that. I mean, is it still going to live on this headline here of the streaming? Give us your technical and fundamental outlook on the House of Mouse.
Okay, I'm short in just a bet that what the heck is management going to say that hasn't been already priced in? I mean, they priced in all the great news and then some. I love the new, I'm not poo-pooing the company itself. I like it. I like the fact that they're launching their new streaming. I think every family on the planet will have it probably. So I don't know how profitable it is for them. I don't know what they're going to do with it. So I'm not shorting all that prospect. I'm just shorting the price action now here. There's too big a gap below. I've seen this happen a few times where something gaps up that big and just never comes back to it. But I think onus is on management to actually earn it up here for the short term. So this is a short-term short. Just
You gonna
over
take it through the report?
Yeah, this is for the report.
Okay.
So
when is the report, Spencer? Is it?
It's this week.
It's tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow or Thursday. I don't remember which day.
Yeah, it's this week.
So it's a few $100 that I risked on it. It's actually less because when I bought the puts, I bought extreme calls just in case, and the extreme calls paid for most of the puts. So I'm kind of shorting it gingerly, but not as a concept, just as a headline trade for the report itself. So company is doing great. I love what they're doing with the streaming thing. It will be a problem for Netflix, but it won't be a Netflix killer because I think they're mutually exclusive to a degree. Parents will want Disney. People will want Netflix. It's no longer like a household thing where does the household have Netflix or not? Do the people have Netflix or not?
You know what my thoughts process is, and this is why, I did start a position here in Disney, and I should clarify that I just started it because it's not a full-size position because I was nervous about going through the earnings. But kind of my thought process is, even if it misses or disappoints in what they say, I think it's one that, if it falls $5-6 on the earnings report, I think it's one that bounces back, not necessarily that day, but over the course of the next, couple of weeks, even if it misses, because I think, they priced in this big move was all pricing in the new streaming service. We know none of that is going to be in the earnings report. So if it does disappoint, I think you've got a lot of people that's saying, I want to buy Disney because of the new streaming service. I'm going to take this opportunity now to jump in. And if they beat, then it's obviously going to, potentially pop on it. So that's why I'm playing it, and I'm not even playing, I put in the long-term investment portfolio, so I should clarify that too. So I don't know if I'm going to play it as a trade, but it is in my long-term investment portfolio because I think it's a heads I win, tails I win. I think if I look at the 6 months from now, I think it could be higher. Obviously, everything is just speculation, even in investing. But I think if it pulls back on the earnings, I think there's buy the dippers below. So that's why I'm jumping in a little bit ahead of the report. And then if it dips on the actual earnings, then I'll add and bring up my sizes up to a full size position.
I don't disagree with you, but the problem is the dip below. It was too.
Where is it? Yeah, it's big.
It is. I don't disagree with you, but usually it's $2, $3, $4. I mean, in this case, it's like 20.
Yeah, there's some space there.
There is a lot of space there. So if I own shares, I'd sell calls and buy puts to protect me over the earnings.
Nick, quick question here coming out of the chat. We're looking at the recent chart, and you got the blue and yellow over on the left-hand side there. Someone speculated there was a volume indicator. What's that all the way to the left?
That's volume. I used to have it on the right. I just moved it to the left because it was interfering with the color. I always had to hover over it to see where the actual colors lied. So yeah, it's volume. It's very important. If you don't have volume on your charts, you should add it.
Is it custom? Is that custom or is that?
Well, in this case, it is. It just shows it's a variable range. So whatever I'm looking for, whatever I'm looking at, it shows me volume for that. So it's kind of like a volume profile chart that moves as I zoom in and out on charts. So I don't have to reset the timeline for it.
All right, let's give you a couple tough ones here. CMG. Hit off the earnings report. It's come all the way back here. Now I'm looking at the monthly chart here, and holy mackerel, 720. I mean, you hit 721 last month. You hit 720 now. I mean, to me, that's major resistance here. How are you looking at it, Nick?
Take whatever I say and take the opposite of it. I had a good position on it and I messed it up. So I was short and I should have bailed on it when it was profitable, and I thought it was continue on lower. Obviously it didn't. So it was a winning trade for me and it failed. I still think it's a very expensive restaurant. I mean, it's more expensive than Amazon, probably more expensive than CRM, even though they're not restaurants. But it gives you the idea. I can't compare it to any other. I don't know if it's more expensive than Shack or not, but it's too expensive. I mean, I there's no way I can buy it up here. Absolutely not. If you don't want to short it, don't short it. But it is a neckline. Above here, it will go higher. It will break 750 just above here.
Okay. Boom. Just going back to your volume indicator. Does that help you at all for intraday trading, or is this more for longer term trading?
Yeah, because if I zoom into a 30-minute chart, it will adjust the volume. So if I go to the ES and say 30 minutes, it'll tell me where the volume is there. If you don't know what happened, when, and how much of it, then you're flying blind. So volume on a chart is really important. That's my opinion.
Okay. I'll give you another tough one here. How many times is Boeing going to hold the bottom of this trading range?
I'm long, so hopefully forever. So Boeing is headline, and it has fundamentals on its side. They are trying to break it by saying that it's a Ford Pinto situation, like I've said here before, I think, where they knew something, they made the math, and they thought that lives were, didn't justify. So there is a neckline that's, like you said, so that's the threat, but the neckline is support until it fails. So if the neckline fails, I do have a dip down to 330 something from prior drawings of this neckline. So I did it March 15th. And it's still here. So the more you test that neckline, if it breaks, it's a trapdoor to the basement. If it doesn't, then it provides some support for the bulls to build on it. So now trading Boeing will be a wide range between below 362-ish versus above 385-ish. Either of those two lines break, it carries in that direction.
Yeah, caught a downgrade today, and I'm just looking at that area, and it's just been holding on for a long time. So God support it.
So,
I mean, if you could just go ahead, Nick.
No, but people downgrade it now. I mean, I don't know. It's just if this is the extent of the headlines, eventually this too shall pass. It's one model plane, albeit an important one, but it's still questionable who did what and where and whether they put lives in danger or not. I'm not an expert. I'm just saying that this too shall pass unless there's another memo somewhere sitting where they actually did math and decided that lives were not worth actually telling something to someone.
All right, we went from some pretty hard stocks, but give me a little bit. I don't know. No stock is easy in this market.
Yeah, one is Tesla.
Yeah.
Hey, when the market's falling apart, buy safety, buy Tesla. Yesterday, Tesla was great.
This has been going on in Tesla forever, has it not? It's so weird. It moves opposite the market. It really does.
Oh my God.
I don't understand it whatsoever. But you're exactly right. I mean, this is the stock that is like a play. It's like a hedge. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it.
Well,
I can't make fundamental sense of why Tesla is inversely correlated to the market. But this has been going on for a long time.
This is a coincidence because I think
it's not, though. I tell you, Nick. It's funny, but I see it a lot, and because I do the index ARB, I see it a lot, and I never put Tesla in anything in my index ARB because it's no correlation. So I shouldn't say it's inverse. It's just no correlation to the market at all. It does whatever the hell it wants to do any single day. The market can be killed, and most of the time this thing's just doing whatever it wants to do.
That was my point, that it's doing whatever it wants to do because they borrowed money, and the more they borrow, the more it does, because now they think, okay, it's not going out of business. So now that the thesis for Tesla has turned into they're not going out of business. So
we better buy the hell out of it.
Buy the hell out of it because they're not going out of business now. So that's the long thesis on Tesla.
They should do a merger with PCG, and
perfect.
What do you make of that stock, Nick?
Oh, nothing. I mean, is it even worth looking at? I've not. You need I don't know. You need a lawyer for that, like a bankruptcy lawyer, to tell you what's going on.
We had one on a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you want to listen to the show, but we had a young lady from California out there, and she just thinks it's hedge funds just battling it out there. They bought it. Some are long, some are short. I mean, really, I think what she said when it comes down to it is, okay, they may come through this okay, and they may emerge, and there may be some assets.
Oh my God.
But one more thing, and in their
but that's the concept with Facebook too. So I'm not sure that would stop me from trading the stock. So let's talk trading. So 19 or below, it catches another leg lower. Above 25, it catches a leg higher. That's technically speaking, ignoring the headlines, just looking at the charts. There are two lines to trade.
All
And
right.
just repeat, I know you're going to wrap, Spencer, but at the top of the segment, Dennis called you the perfect guest. So, I mean, that is.
And I said, I
that's
knew it.
coming
I
from
knew it.
I
Dennis.
accept that title.
I knew it.
Nick, try not to lose triple digits today, all right?
Oh, no, hopefully not. Hopefully we will have a repeat of yesterday for all of ye long people out there. But seriously, if on Sunday night you wished you had protection for your positions on the bounces, you should go ahead and spend a few bucks protecting it.
Good advice.
Wait, Nick, before you go, how long after an IPO does stock become optionable? Do you know? 5 days?
No, it varies these days. I mean, Lyft got them within days, I think. So it all depends. They're getting faster and faster. It used to be weeks before, and now it seems like I don't know if there's a formula for it.
I was asking because Beyond Meat, but I don't think I don't think it's optionable yet. But I haven't checked. I just assumed.
I don't even know the ticker for it. What is the ticker for it?
Oh, pull it up, Nick.
BYND.
This is your stock, Nick. BYND. You got to get
oh my
down.
Goodness. Bye.
No, it's like the Impossible Burger. It's like the burger that tastes like meat and looks like meat, but it's not meat.
So why not eat meat? I don't know.
If you're a vegetarian, you don't want to eat meat.
So if you're a vegetarian, you're not supposed to crave meat. So I don't get it.
This stock just goes up no matter what, eh? This is one of those days.
You know what?
It's up $3 again. Market, who cares? We're down.
Who's the biggest pea farmer in the world? PEA? Because that's what I want to go long. I want to go long.
The Green Giant.
Is it Del Monte? That's not still traded.
No, he's physically the biggest guy.
The Jolly Green. Yeah.
FDP. FDP is still there.
What is it?
Fresh Del Monte.
Yeah, FDP is still hanging around.
Oh, yeah,
is it still there?
Oh yeah, it's there.
I'm going long.
It actually looks okay right now. It's kind of turning.
They're talking all the peas. There's not enough peas in the world to fulfill their demand.
All this
I swear to God.
meat.
Yeah. I cannot believe the stock is not higher if they're the biggest pea farmer. But I'll have to do a little bit more research in that.
Well, FDP is a playoff Beyond Meat.
Let us know.
You heard it here first, Dennis. Don't tweet that out.
Yeah,
let us know. Let us know. We'll go all in on calls as soon as it comes.
All in on call. 30 calls. Let's get them.
All right, Nick Chahine is the author.
Had a good day yesterday.
It did. Nick Chahine, author of Create Income with Option Spreads, joins us every other week. Nick, as always, thanks for the time.
Thank you. Later, guys and gals.
Peas have too much sugar. That's exactly right. All right, SSPY, pulling that up. What's happening here? Anything?
Sit. That's why I came back on the show. We whoosh. We reprice and we sit, and we wait for the next headline, or we wait for the next commentary that going to come and drive it. I mean, this market is just waiting. It's sitting here waiting. We're going to get more commentary coming from somebody here today, whether it's a tweet or whether it's somebody else saying something. It's going to be a headline, and that's going to be the next movement. And we sit here and we wait for the next headline.
All right. Speaking of Beyond Meat, let's go to the ratings. They are initiated this morning at Outperform at Bernstein. And the only rating I'm seeing there on Beyond Meat, though.
Wow.
We do have a number of upgrades and downgrades to discuss, though. Dennis, which ones caught your eye the most?
I mean, you can talk Beyond Meat. We just did, though. I mean, this thing's up $3 again. I actually saw this last night, and I saw the rating, and the market was trading down, and I could have bought this thing at like 75, and you think, okay, well, the rating might drive it, but the market's trading down, so I don't want to be buying stocks, and the market's down 20 handles. Well, I guess I should have.
What do you?
78.
What would you use as a spread, though, like to lay off?
No hedges.
Oh, looks like my Skype just crashed. So hold on one second. Let's grab Dennis and Joel back. They're probably still going, so we'll have to wrangle them in a second here. Bear with me, folks, as I dial in to this call. Hey guys, sorry, I lost you there for a second. Mr.
Let's go.
I'm
Okay.
Mr. Beyond Meat. Repeat what you were saying about you saw it last night.
You know what?
I was just saying, I saw Beyond. I saw the rating changes. Oppenheimer, who was it?
Yep, that's Bernstein. Sorry.
Or Bernstein. I saw Bernstein rating last night. The thing was offered 75, and then we tanked 20 handles. He could actually bought this thing scratch. And I was like, well, I could buy it. That's a rating that could move the stock. But I'm like, we're down 20 handles. I don't want to buy stocks when we're down 20 handles. Well, I should have, because this stock doesn't care that the market is down 20 handles. It goes up $3 anyways. I mean, eventually we know how these stories, eventually they're going to have the stocks be down 15% one day because that's how they go. They go, and then they collapse. I mean, that's how they work. So, just think, the stock yesterday's low was $62. Could you get up to 80, 85, 90? You could go anywhere. So these things are really hard to trade. There is no hedges for it. If you're trading Beyond Meat, it's just trading it on its own. I guess you trade it technically, but with 3 days of data, hard thing to do. But it does, it gets a rating change. Somebody says buy it, they come in and buy it. They don't care about the market.
And options are not open on that one, but I'm sure the premiums will be juiced when they do come out in it. Let's just take a look. How's the lifters doing? LYFT. I haven't checked on this stock. Just hanging out just above $60. I don't know. Kind of sleepy. We got the Uber IPO, right? Is that supposed to happen?
That's supposed to be this week. Supposed to be Friday, I think.
I mean, Lyft's held on. So, if you are coming into a Lyft here now, you have levels to lean on. We know the low of the move is 54.32. I mean, it's a long ways from 60. I hate risking 10% on something, but, it's trying to form some type of a bottom. Again, though, you got a lot of overhead supply. And not a ton, because it wasn't like it was up here for years, trading from 65 to 75. But there is going to be some people who are down in this. Everybody who bought this thing and everybody actually who bought the IPO as well at 72. So, at here at 61, I don't know. It looks okay, but I wouldn't want to be long it if it took out 54, and I don't like risking 10%. So that's why I'm just not trading it here.
They do report tonight.
And that's going to be everything. So there you
go. Yep. Buy_Elpos helping us out with that.
Going back to the ratings here, GLUU, which we haven't discussed for a while on this show. GLUU is good, but they have earnings probably coming up here in the next week or so. Upgraded this morning. Who was it? Macquarie to neutral.
What an endorsement at all-time highs here. I'll just say this thing's just been bunching up near all-time highs. 170. Yeah, wait for the report. 179.50 is your all-time high if you want to wiggle out ahead of the report. And your all-time.
When is it due? Actually, it's a while though. Yeah, Lululemon's going to be a while because it's retail. It's usually towards the end, isn't it?
It will be at the end of the month. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a little while here before Lululemon, but I mean, it's strong stock. You want to own strong stocks. I just am cautious. I don't know what the next headline's going to be in the overall market, and that matters, more than anything right now. So if this trade war gets going, you can think, okay, I'm just going to avoid all the trade war stocks. Well, all stocks go down when the S&Ps fall 45 handles. We saw that yesterday. We do see some stocks bounce back quicker, and some stocks obviously aren't as fundamentally affected by it, but all stocks are correlated to the market when it's going down 45 handles. So not knowing what the next headline is going to be is your risk in buying anything for a swing trade right now. So it's hard to analyze things technically here today, at least from a swing trading perspective, when we don't know what the next headline is going to be.
Give us that Roku. Roku got an upgrade here, correct?
Initiate buy at Stevens.
Yeah. Okay. I did see that.
And it's up $1. So an $85 price target. It has been a few days at least since it's manless commentary here. So it's not surprising it's getting a little bit of a lift. We know Roku can move $4 or $5 on analyst commentary. Now, it's not an upgrade, and Stevens is not as influential as a lot of other analysts on the street. So that's probably and so trading up $1, and the market's not helping it here either because the market's trading down. So it's a pretty good move already considering where the market is. But if the market goes to pull back and Roku pulls back, this might be one that, could hold up a little bit better because it's got the rating change and people tend to follow these analysts.
What's the market in that, Dennis? Anybody at 67? Here I see at 60. It's probably wider than that.
Well,
right?
I can't because you don't have, like you can see the NASDAQ book.
Oh, that's right.
You can see total view, but it doesn't have like a sitting NYSE book that, you do when 9:30 the liquidity.
I gotcha. My bad. Two levels in Roku. 67 is your April 4th high. And then the day before, I think this was a downgrade when it went from 68.60 to 64.48. So I'm looking at 67 even, the high on that downgrade day, and then 68.60 was the close the previous day. So I'm sure a lot of people would like to see it back at that level.
Yeah, remember we had 3 downgrades in a row in Roku, Guggenheim, or it was 2 actually. Well, I guess you could say 3. It was Loop, Guggenheim, and Citi had all downgraded Roku within the span of a couple of weeks. Anyway, that'll be it for today's show. Thank you to our guest, Nick Chahine. Thanks for bearing with me when my Skype crashed. Real quick, for those of you in the area, the Benzinga Trading Summit is June 20th in New York City. Joel, Dennis, and myself will be there, along with many others, several of them many of them actually have been on our show before, and we'll be doing the show live from the conference. So benzingatradingsummit.com, promo code PMP15 to get 15% off your ticket. Please.
We got a GM headline right now.
Oh man, what do we got in GM?
GM Cruise is getting an investment from. I just missed it. It just flew by. So hang on.
It's
GM
good
is
news.
moving up. Yeah, it's
Yep.
good news.
Okay.
No, unless you're short like me.
Good news.
Overnight position. So
Good
I'm trying
news
to
for
work out of
Einhorn.
it.
Good news
GM
for
Cruise
Einhorn.
draws $1.15 billion investment by T Rowe existing partners. So it's the cruise is getting an investment. Secured capital 7.2, multiple headlines. Secured capital 7.25 billion, capital commitments. I'm just trying to read. There's like 10 headlines.
Yeah, sure. I'll just while you're
It
doing
looks
it.
like they got an investment from T Rowe and a few other SoftBank.
They had been on the decline after its earnings report, coming back up. They spiked this thing to 39.30. So if you want to use that as a target on the upside, if you're looking for a daily high in that area, it splits at 39.20 and 39.47. So boom, we fall back pretty quickly here, but we'll see how it moves off the news. Let's just one other level I'll give you. 40.45 was at the high of the move here. 40.45. You had a little dip to 37, 3-point buck and a half, 38 and 39. So resistance 39, 39 and a half. We'll see if they can continue it up off the news. And I saw Ford's got a little pop on that, but someone doesn't want Ford's going through 1050. I'm not sure who it is, but there's your major resistance in F.
All right, please remember that all the information from our show is for informational purposes only, not meant to be an investing advice. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. We will see you on Wednesday.